Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the After the Frame podcast. My name is Malik, and I am joined, as always, by.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And today we are going to be covering the critically acclaimed K-pop Demon Hunters, or as I like to call it, the Korean Powerpuff Girls. Alden, how did you feel about this one? Were you buying into the hype, or did you watch it before all of the popularity? What were your thoughts before watching, or even after?
Well, so I actually watched it pretty well after it kind of blew up. I did not know it was a thing until it spawned out of nowhere. And I saw all the hype and I'm like, that's typically not something I would watch. And then the hype never went away. And eventually I was like, all right, I'll check it out, give it a watch. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was.
Gotcha. I mean, I literally watched it I think I watched it the weekend or the week of Thanksgiving, so not that long ago. I've been meaning to get around to it because, everybody has been saying it's such a great movie. I have my thoughts on it. I don't think I share the same opinions as everybody else. I think it was like a good movie, but not great. But I don't have a ton of things to say about it. I'm not sure if you do. It wasn't to me. I have like one or two things that I really wanted to point out, but other than that, I feel like it was a pretty good movie. So yeah, if you're ready, we can just get right into what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, I've got a fair share of positives here. The first thing I wanted to touch on is honestly just the outstanding animation style. Sony, time and time again, they continue to prove that they have one of the strongest animation teams in the industry right now. I mean, for me, it all really kind of started off with the Spider-Man movies. Into and Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, the animation for those is incredible. And I mean, it's, their animation department just seems to be on a roll. I mean, with this one, the visuals are really vibrant, but everything moves really fluid and it's just packed with personality. I mean, every frame really just feels energetic and intentional. And like, I think the animation alone just delivers a great viewing experience.
Yeah, I mean, the animation for me as well was one of the positives that I had. I think that it wasn't quite up there with obviously Into the Spider Verse or Across the Spider Verse, but yeah, very unique. Probably something I don't think that I've seen on Netflix before. I'm not even really too familiar with Netflix's original like animated stuff, but that's definitely something I have not seen Netflix do before. But yeah, as you said, Sony Animation is definitely batting 1,000 on their stuff for the most part, at least recently.
Yeah, I think they did a good job blending, not only animation, but also taking kind of the anime inspiration into it as well. Like it's funny you mentioned Netflix and animation and those sorts of things. I'm not a big anime guy, but I
Me
have
neither.
slowly worked my way into watching like if there's a cool project or something out that I'll watch. And I finally got around to watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Super quick anime. Like it's like 10 episodes, half-hour episodes. Like I breezed through it in a night. But the animation for that, I mean, it's, not as, I want to say like three-dimensional as Demon Hunters, but I mean, the animation done by them. Netflix seems to have a good eye when it comes to animation. So, yeah, I mean, moving on to my next bullet, I honestly really enjoyed the characters. I thought the characters were fun and memorable, and I mean, they're pretty instantly likable and easy to latch onto. And I thought that each one kind of had a clear personality that kind of played well off the others in the group. And I mean, I thought the group dynamic was a highlight. But you can kind of tell that this is a world in this. I'm assuming they're going to make a sequel. I mean, it was a huge success, but you can kind of tell that this was a world kind of built with just longevity in mind. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, the characters and where I guess I stand differently than where the vast majority of people I've talked to stand is that I didn't really feel like anything particularly connected with me in this movie. Like, bar like the music, which we'll obviously get into, and then the animation. I felt as though like the characters, like I said, like to me, like growing up watching like Cartoon Network, the three of them are literally the same exact personality types of a trio as the Powerpuff Girls. So it's not like something I haven't seen before. Then I also felt the main conflict with Rumi, I believe was her name, right? The main demon hunter. Her conflict, they created a scenario that's a little bit more unique with everything with the demons and the lore that they've explained in the movie. But just the whole character having like this thing that, they're keeping from their friends, they want to keep concealed. I also felt like that was touching on like stuff that I've seen in Frozen. So it's like I feel like there were certain aspects of the movie that it wasn't like, oh my God, it's like things I've never seen before, so groundbreaking. Still done well, but to me, like the characters, everything like that, like didn't really, you know, like stick with me. After I watched it, I'm like, I don't really. If they don't make a sequel, like I don't really care. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I felt about the movie, I guess. But that could be because everybody hyped it up so much that I don't know. Maybe it just affected my viewing.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like this film, at least from my perspective and kind of the future, like I think it has pretty high rewatch potential. I see it. I think it's a big market with kids. Like it's not a movie, it's not something I would expect kids to be into, but I guess with the music and everything just kind of drawing in that more like younger audience has kind of been drawn in. But I
Mm,
think there's definitely promise for a franchise. I mean, the film does feel like it's the beginning of something, not just a one off. And for me, I mean, the more time passed, the more this one did kind of stick with me, and the more it kind of has grown in appreciation for me. And I think Sony clearly has something here worth expanding.
okay, I mean that's fair. As I said, like if they make a sequel, I'll probably end up watching it. Like kind of pivoting from what you kind of mentioned, I feel like the movie's rewatchability is not nearly as impactful as I'd say like the re-listening ability, because to me like the standout stuff is the music. I don't think that every song is a banger. They definitely have some catchy tunes in this one that I understand why so many people like the music, and it's been playing on repeat on the radio and on the internet. But yeah, what were your thoughts on the music? I know that you're not a huge musical guy, so what were your thoughts?
Well, me not being a musical guy and specifically this kind of genre, definitely not my forte, but it was catchy. It did kind of fit the theme that they were going for, and there is, quite a bit of re-listenability to kind of the soundtrack, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. I think it delivered on kind of the expectations that it was going for.
And how many of the songs were in your Spotify Wrapped?
Zero.
Oh, it didn't do its job marketing to you then.
I think I listened to the soundtrack, like, I watched the movie, and then probably after the movie, like, I probably went back to probably half the songs and, like, streamed them maybe once, maybe twice. They are not on my everyday rotation.
Yeah, understandable. Anything else you have for positives?
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 that all kinda blend into one here. One was, to me, I thought it had a strong and engaging story, and given that I didn't really have any expectations going into this, I thought that the story was surprisingly solid. I mean, it was well-paced, it was entertaining, and it was emotionally grounded enough to kinda keep you invested, but it balanced, humor, action, and just overall heart without feeling super cluttered. And in my opinion, like from a narrative perspective, I thought it knew exactly what kind of movie it wants to be. And with that, it also kind of had the perfect level of chaos too. I mean, the movie does kind of embrace its wild premise and does lean into it without, going overboard. But the tone to me just kind of hit that sweet spot. It was big, bold, ridiculous, but it was never exhausting. It didn't overdo it for you. I thought it was a kind of like controlled chaos that kind of made the animated genre blend of musical, action, almost thriller type, just like mesh, and it worked out.
Yeah, okay. And that was the combination of the two. You still got
Yeah, no, I'm
1,000.
good. Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing that I had for my positives to shout out was I really enjoyed that they casted just Koreans, which I really liked. Made it just seem that much more authentic rather than having a Chris Pratt play Mario type thing, and you just get the big name actors doing roles. I mean, I never knew any of the voice actors. I mean, I'd since like looked into them on IMDb and looked them up and everything, because all of the people that have singing parts in this, I think, did a fantastic job. And to my understanding, the three main girls are actually like a K-pop like group, I
Mm.
believe. And yeah, even the Saja boys, all the people that were in that as well. So I think like that the voice acting and the casting, the voice casting for it, I wanted to also shout out in my positives. So, but yeah, that's it for my positives as well. And I really only have one big negative, so I'm not sure what you had for yours.
I have 2 really small negatives.
Okay.
For me, I mean, overall, there's not much to nitpick, but I mean, I think there is room to grow in the event that they revisit this down the line. And I mean, while the movie works overall, I mean, I think some ideas shared in the film could be pushed even further in just future installments. And some of the character arcs just felt like setups rather than fully realized journeys. And I mean, maybe that's the intent. Like, they're going to have this trilogy and the setup, the seeds are planted to carry on into 2 and 3, maybe. Um, the other thing for me was just kinda getting familiar story beats, and, I mean, certain plot elements kind of followed recognizable, animated action formulas. Nothing, groundbreaking. It didn't hurt the movie for me, but it does kinda keep it from feeling, entirely groundbreaking. So, but that was all I had as far as the negatives go.
Well, yeah, I mean, I might have sounded a little hyperbolic with my like big thing, but like I really only had just the one because, as you said, like the movie is pretty tight. It's nothing groundbreaking with like the plot or anything like that. I felt so it's nothing that you can tear apart, but nothing that I felt like needed to necessarily be, you could write home about per
Mhm.
se. For me, my only drawback, I should say, is that the ending to me was a little bit too rushed. The resolution between the main trio as well as the switch up from bad to bad and then back to good again for I forget the main guy's name of the Saja boys where they were kind of having their little romance going on. I felt like that kind of just they just kind of skipped through it, and obviously this movie was set up from the opening number. You see that Rumi has like this secret or whatever. Obviously that eventually the secret's going to come out. Her friends are going to know that she's been lying. It's going to in the third act, there's going to be all this tension, and then they're going to get back together. But where I missed out on was they had the scene where they find out that she's part demon, and obviously they feel betrayed. And then they go off, and then she goes off, and then they kind of just have a thing where that demon king starts taking over everybody. They go to that venue for the Saja boys to have their like final song thing, and then the three of them kind of just show up together and start singing a song, and they don't have like any scene of them coming together and really like putting a bow on that or having Rumi like explain to them, some context. I felt like that was it missed like a scene or two of like very simple things that you see in a lot of these movies that I felt like just like rushed through it just to kind of get to that final song. And then also the main demon of the Saja boys, he obviously his whole thing was the whole stuff with his family and the deal that he wanted to make with the Demon King, and I felt like him just switching over, they could have done a little bit more with that as well. But that's just my opinion. I just felt like, whoa, like it's already done. Like we're already friends again. That's how I felt. How did you feel about the ending?
I mean, I wasn't super critical of it. I mean, it was kind of what I expected. I do get where you come from is kind of just adding, and who knows, like maybe that was a cut scene or something. But I mean, I think
Hmm.
those added 2, 3 minutes of context probably would have helped. But I mean, we do know how you are with endings.
Yeah.
Shout out Bugonia if you haven't listened to that.
Yeah, it's not even begonia, but yeah, anybody who's been listening to us for a while, or I mean, even you, as you said, like when it comes endings for me, it's like the movie, it's like the thing that like how that's when you ask most audiences what like how they feel about a movie, the whole like 90% of the movie from beginning to the ending, it'll be good and they're having a good time, but then that ending sometimes just like puts a bad taste in your mouth. So I feel like a movie's ending is very critical to like as they say in show business, like it's how you leave them. So as I said, it didn't ruin the movie for me nearly as much as how Begonia kind of, in my head, kind of unwrapped like a lot of the dichotomies going on in that movie. You can watch that episode that we have up now. But yeah, to me, this, as you said, like it was predictable they were gonna get back together, but I felt like even though it was predictable, they still just rushed through it. And as you said, like probably a scene or two was maybe cut for whatever reason. But yeah, it didn't ruin the movie for me or anything. So that was my little negative there.
Fair point. Yeah, I don't have anything else. So, I mean, if you want to dive into final takeaways,
I really don't have much else to say on that. I mean, like I feel like everything we said in the preamble is kind of like how I feel. Like I went into it hearing the hype and everything like that. It definitely has a lot to like, and it has a lot of charm to it. I see why kids would like it. I even see why adults like it. I can't even say it wasn't my cup of tea. Like I enjoyed it, but it's not up there for me like some of the best animated movies I've ever seen or anything, which is how I feel like some people are acting. So That's my final thought.
Yeah, it's definitely not that high for me. But I mean,
Mhm,
overall, like I think it's a blast. I mean, it was stylish, it's energetic, it's just packed with, fun characters and, just confident storytelling. And I mean, yeah, Sony's animation, their hot streak just continues. And I mean, this feels like a world with, kind of just real staying power. And I mean, I'm
mhm.
curious to see what it'll turn into.
Yeah, and then we'll see, Beyond the Spider-Verse in, like, 2035, so we'll see where, animations come by then.
Yeah, if, Shamik Moore ever records his lines, he's probably grieving over the
Yeah.
recent news.
Yeah, sorry to hear that on his behalf, so but yeah, that's all my final thoughts, so, I mean, if you're ready, we can just jump right into the ratings.
But yeah, good with me.
Yeah, for this one, simple as that, I gave it a 75%.
I gave it 8.4 out of 10.
As I said, like, in my scale, it was good, but not great. I feel like it could have been a little bit, a little bit more nuanced perhaps, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
I
would
recommend it.
recommend. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd recommend if you like. I mean, at this point now, it's become such a pop culture icon. I feel like you just see the stuff on the internet. So if it seems interesting to you and you've been like saying, "Oh, should I watch it? It's only for kids?" Like, it's a good time to watch it. I mean, like, it's not even, if I remember correctly, I don't even think it was 2 hours. I think it's a little under 2 hours or something. It kind of
yeah.
relatively quick movie, like, compared to today's standards. And I mean, like, did it even have a theatrical release? It might have had a little bit of one, but it was just straight to Netflix in the beginning.
Yeah,
So
I think it didn't have a theatrical release out the gate, but I think they did like a sing-along version of it in
Uh,
theaters, I think.
yeah,
Something like
that's
that.
fair. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think that this type of movie, just as you touched on with the animation, would have definitely been better for a theatrical release. I think that it could have definitely, especially how popular it is, definitely could have made them some money. But something tells me that they definitely did not think that it was going to catch fire the way that it did, which is why it just went to straight to streaming. So, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe if they do that sequel, we'll see it in theaters whenever that comes out, if it comes out. So, but yeah, that's all I have for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, just like the movie, honestly. Yeah, anything else before we wrap up?
No, I'm all good. Feel free to loop us in, tell us what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I mean, if there's nothing else, then I guess we'll sign off and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Take care, everybody.
Bye bye.